Hello, and welcome to our preview for the Avoid the Void prototype that we are sending out to a few different folks for the purpose of video reviews and artwork creation and so on. We want to give you a quick snapshot of all the different prototype pieces that are included, and we'd love to hear any feedback from you. So first off, you can see that we've laid out the board here in a 5x5 grid of what's called sector tiles. Each of these sector tiles has a number in the center as well as some number of arrows pointing out from that sector. The row along the bottom have an additional element of a ship icon, and these are starting sectors for the various ships that will be in the game depending on the number of players. There are 7 different color ships that will be included. Of course, again, these are early prototype pieces. The final ones will be very nice. So in this 5-player mock-up here, we have the Top Coal, place their blue ship there. We have the KK, the alien race that appears to any onlookers as exactly what they are desiring most, such as in my case, a piece of cake. We have the Igarin, green, and we have a red player, the Nephi. These are red-hot robots, so immensely red, they must be evil. And of course, we end with the Jakai. So we place all of our starting ships on these sectors. I'm not going to do a full run-through of the game here. Just want to give you a sense of the different components that are in the game. As I was showing here, we have these different race cards. They all have a special ability. It says right there what they do. On your turn, what you're going to do is draw a number of cards. So let's say that this ship is here at the beginning of a turn on this 3. That 3 says you're going to draw 3 cards into your hand at the start of the turn. Now what happens during your turn is you must play half of your cards on your turn. And so I draw 3, I add that to my hand, let's say of 1, so I have 4 cards. I have to play 2 cards during my turn. I play those action cards, which are going to do an array of wacky, crazy things to all of these sectors. It might rotate some sectors. Let's say it rotates this one this way. It might turn some sectors into black holes. Let's say this 2 over here suddenly turns into a black hole. And by the way, that's going to be really bad news for this red ship when on his turn he's going to be moving in that direction. It might move some sectors around, might actually shift the nature of the board. So all sorts of crazy things happen with these. So we play our action cards, we perform those different actions, and then at the end of my turn, I must move in one of the arrow directions. In this case, I have no choice but to move to the left sector. So I move over there. So if at any time during my turn, I have no cards in my hand, I am sucked into the void and I lose. I actually will become a void beast, and that's a neat mechanic to keep everyone playing in the game, but we'll get to that. So if I have no cards in my hand, I am sucked into the void. That is one of the lose conditions. Another is if I cannot move. So let's say I do find myself in this black hole over here. Well, just because I'm in the black hole doesn't actually mean I will lose. I might find some trans-dimensional warp in some of these cards that are in my hand, or otherwise be able to swap positions with another ship. I can body snatch and take over another player's body and basically pick up my stuff out of my seat, walk over to their seat and swap places with them, and now I'm their race. So there's all sorts of ways that you can get out of these situations. But in the end, if I do find myself in a black hole and I cannot move for whatever reason, I'm sucked into the void. Likewise, if I'm at an edge sector here and I push myself off the board for whatever reason, sucked into the void. So all sorts of crazy, wacky things can happen. So some other components that are in the game here. We have sector mods. Various effects here. Some of the cards will say to place a sector mod on a tile. So let's say this one here. Some kind of a gating mechanism. We place it on this sector here, let's say this 1. Well, with this -2 that comes from this gate, basically that sector is now a -1. So on my turn, I don't draw cards, according to the number there. I actually have to discard a card, which again is a very important aspect if you consider that if you run out of cards, you lose the game. We, of course, have our prototype rulebook ready to go and read. Look forward to feedback on that. We have a massive pile deck of action cards. And these are, of course, the main, what makes up the main part of your hand and the turn when you are activating these different actions. They all have a different color, so different types of cards, and of course some cards will reference action cards of a certain type. Some of these will say sector mod on the bottom, so that's an indicator that you're going to place one of those tokens somewhere out on the board. And then there's also ship mods. And so here we have one, the Spy is a ship mod. And what that means is you place this card in front of you and it attaches to your ship and you use that ability at an appropriate time. Of course, ship mods might get moved around, might get removed, and so on. We have a lot of artwork ready to go, but we also have a lot of placeholders, so please understand that as you're going through. We are very proud of some of the artwork we have, and we're working with some top-notch artists. You can see here are the back of the cards and our very nice cover art for the box. Very happy with that. So more artwork to come. Of course, we're going to be running a Kickstarter. That is why we are going through this effort. So with that, once again, we also have these Void Beasts, which at the towards the end, you're going to start seeing more and more of these Void Beasts come out. If you're ever sucked into the Void, you draw one of these at random, and they all have some ability that you now have as a Void Phantom or a Void Beast. In this case, when it comes around to your turn, you're going to be able to move any ship to another ship's sector. So I want this orange guy here to join the green guy. And that actually has some decent effect on the game, since being in the same sector as another ship comes at a cost. And more of that, of course, will be detailed in the rules. So that adds a really neat aspect, just makes the game even more chaotic and frantic and wacky fun. I hope that this is of interest to you, and thank you for taking the time to help us out in whatever your capacity. And please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions or concerns anytime. From the entire Geek Fever team, thank you very much. Bye.